Yes, I know you'd like to join your brothers outside and howl at the moon. But you're serving a much better purpose. Yes, you're serving science through me. Are you quite comfortable, Pedro?
Sure, Doctor.
You're not afraid?
I ain't got no reason to be afraid.
Yeah, that's right, Pedro. There's nothing to be afraid of. Nothing at all. There, did that hurt?
No, that was just like a pin sticking me. How come I have to have these straps on, Doc?
Well, you see, Pedro, I'm trying a new formula. I wouldn't want you to make a sudden move and fall off the couch. Now, don't worry. It'll only be for a little while. How do you feel now?
I feel just like I always did. When you stick me with that thing, I'm kind of sleepy. I want to sleep now.
That's right. Go to sleep. Gentlemen, I wish you were here to see the proof of my claim. The transfusion of blood between different species is possible. A few moments ago, Petro was a man. A harmless, good-natured man. Look at him now. He's no longer human. He's a wolf, snarling, ferocious, lusting for the kill. You're looking at a scientific miracle, gentlemen.
You're a madman, Cameron. Your claim is ridiculous.
That's exactly what you said in the newspapers, isn't it, Professor Blaine? That I was a madman, not fit to occupy a science chair at the university. Perhaps you'll change your mind one day, soon, when Petro tears at your throat.
Poppycock.
You may laugh if you want to. But look. Even now, he'd like to be at his work. My catalytic agent has brought about a complete transition from man to wolf.
Your crazy experiments are a disgrace to science.
Yes. Those are the very words you used in denouncing me to the faculty. Professor Fitzgerald. Science. What do you know about science? You with your hidebound dogmas and shriveled mind that refuses to recognize progress.
What has progress to do with your foolish tampering with nature?
I'm glad you asked that question, Professor Hatfield. You also were one of those stupid fools who raised their voices against me. You're aware, of course, that this country is at war. That our armed forces are locked in combat with a savage horde who fight with fanatical fury. Well, that fanatical fury will avail them nothing when I place my new serum at the disposal of the War Department. Just picture, gentlemen, an army of wolfmen, fearless, raging, every man a snarling animal. My serum will make it possible to unloose millions of such animal men. Men who are governed by one collective thought, the animal lust to kill without regard to personal safety. Such an army will be invincible, gentlemen. Such an army will sweep everything before it.
Your scheme is too utterly fantastic, Dr. Cameron.
You're fools, all of you. Poor, blind fools, especially you, Dr. Warwick.
Assuming that what you say is true, how would you control these wolfmen?
I perfected an antidote that induces the return of immediate normalcy.
And I suppose that it would be an easy matter to round up 1 million wild animals and administer an antidote. No, Cameron, you're mad. Stark, raving mad. And I, for one, am in favor of...
Silence! I'm not interested in your imbecilic mouthings. You all of you demonstrated your lack of vision by demanding my resignation from the faculty. Well, you accomplished your purpose. You cast me out. You robbed me of everything that I held most dear in life. Position, honor, respect. You branded me as a madman, held me up to ridicule before the whole world. But now it's time for my revenge. Pedro will see to that. Now you shall pay for your folly. There's no escape for any of you. You shall die one by one at the hands of the scientific marvel that you scoffed at.
You can't intimidate us with fantastic threats.
You're a faker, Cameron, a mad faker.
We'll have you ostracized by every scientist in the country.
There are institutions for madmen, and we'll see that you're confined in one.
You will see, gentlemen. You will see.
You're watching Sleepcore. Pleasant dreams.
Anyway, what's so hard about picking a lock? It's just a question of a little practice. Now allow me to demonstrate. A pair of handcuffs loaned to me by the LAPD, and a hairpin loaned to me by a young lady the other evening when I was over at her apartment. She was quite attractive, about 5'8", long. Well, that's another story, of course. Now, I'll handcuff myself to the telephone over here.
You're making a big mistake.
Huh? I will attempt to handcuff myself to the telephone. Certainly. I will put the telephone in the handcuff. Then You'd be surprised. Well, give me the police department. I don't know how these goddamn handcuffs work.
Okay, here's one that I think we're in a little more tight agreement on.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people have problems, Gene, after they move into a new house. You know, the roof leaks, the furniture doesn't work, the furnace doesn't work, I should have said. The furniture moves around. That's what happens in this movie. The furniture's on the ceiling in one scene. So anyway, but for George and Kathy Lutz, am I doing a good job of getting into this? In Amityville, New York, there were a few additional problems, Gene, like the slime that came through the keyholes and the red-eyed pig that glared at them through the windows, the thousands of houseflies that attacked them in the dead of winter, and the marching band that was walking around in the empty living room. Kind of disturbing when you've only made one payment. So their adventures were first told in a best-selling book. I guess everybody's read it, and now the Amityville Horror has been made into a movie. And George and Kathy Lutz are played by James Brolin and Margot Kidder. And one night, for example, they come home and find that the babysitter has been locked in the closet by mysterious forces.
Now, Matt, right upstairs like this. Come on.
Why?
Upstairs
I'm not even tired.
You are so tired.
I am not.
You're tired because I said you're tired. Hey, cut that out. Come on, I'll bring you up some milk and cookies.
Let me out.
Amy? Amy, are you okay?
Jackie?
Oh, my God.
I couldn't get out. The door closed and it locked and I couldn't get out.
Honey, there's no lock on this door.
It wouldn't open.
Take a look.
Look, see?
It wouldn't open. Why didn't you open the door? Why didn't you answer me?
Jackie! Why didn't you unlock the door? You heard Jackie knocking?
Jody wouldn't let me.
Jody? Who's Jody?
She's my friend, and she comes to play with me.
What the hell are we standing here listening to? And weren't you told to go to bed? Go on, get out of here!
Let me see. Let me go get something for you.
George yelled at me.
Well, you should have opened the door.
Jody doesn't like George.
Jody told her. Well, Jody is just one of the several mysterious supernatural forces that inhabit this house. Now, is the Amityville Horror for real? I don't know, and I'm not planning to go to Amityville and find out real soon either, as a matter of fact. But what I can say, though, is that the movie is not very much fun. Maybe it wasn't meant to be. Oozing slime is hardly ever entertaining. But the way the Lutzes are relentlessly persecuted by their haunted house is finally just repetitive, boring, gruesome, more than a little depressing. I was going to say, who would want to see this movie, but millions of people already have gone to see it. It's a big hit at the box office. I don't think it was very entertaining. Starts out, it takes place over 21 days. The book is 28 days, the movie 21 days. Day 7, it says, something terrible happens to them. Day 8, something terrible happens to them. By day 15, I was shouting to them, you know, sell the house.
I was shouting that at day 6. I mean, on the level of should they get out of the house, they should be out of the house in the first 20 minutes of the picture. But there's something much more seriously wrong here. We've seen so many of these possession, Satan pictures in houses, in spaceships, everywhere it seems.
I'll bet we've seen 50 in the last 5
right.
years.
Inside wombs and all this kind of stuff. So they have to come up with a new wrinkle, right? Well, the new wrinkle here is a rather sickening one. It's showing children in peril. We see a shot of kids shotgunned to death in their beds. We see it a couple times. We see another scene of a windowsill dropping on a young kid's hand, and we see a close-up shot of the hand and blood oozing out of the fingers. It's held on, that shot, for a few seconds. We see another kid walking down a flight of stairs and then falling and injuring himself down the flight of stairs. We see that teenage girl trapped in the closet a couple of times and scared and cowering. This is rather cruel film for young people to see. It's cruel toward the audience. That's oppressive stuff. I draw the line at seeing children in cruelty.
I agree with you about that. I will say, however, one thing in defense of gruesome movies. I said this movie was gruesome and that I didn't like it. I don't want you to think I don't like gruesome movies at all. I think they can be entertaining. The Alien, for example, has the most gruesome monster in it I've ever seen on the screen, but it was fun. The Exorcist, in its own demented, satanic way, was fun, even though it was gruesome. This movie is not a good time. I mean, you leave the theater with a bad taste in your mouth.
Those other directors have a way of letting you know and relieving the tension and letting you know that they're enjoying entertaining you. This director, hammer, hammer, hammer. Bad stuff, bad stuff. It hurts to watch the picture. It's R-rated. We ought to let people know that. I don't think kids will like it. I don't think adults.
R-rated for a good reason, too.
It's
right.
rough. We agree on the Amityville Horror. 2 no votes for the gruesome haunted house thriller.
I bid you welcome.
MCA Universal Home Video announces the Universal Studios Monsters Classic Collection. These are the titles monster fans have been waiting to sink their teeth into. Now, at the spectacular price of $14.98 each, suggested retail. Visit your local video retailer and ask for the Universal Studios Monsters Classic Collection. Classic monster titles with a haunting new look at a price to die for.
You're watching Sleepcore, media for insomnia.
Creatures of the light, how can you say with absolute certainty what does or does not dwell within the limitless ocean of the night? Are the dark, enshrouded regions of evil not but figments of the imagination, because you and your puny conceit say they cannot exist? Whence came the story, told in frightened whispers down through the ages, of witch and warlock, werewolf and vampire, and all the spawn of hell, born on the sable wings of night to the unholy communion of the witch's Sabbath?
The angel of death has stretched forth his hand, and we consign this soul to infinite mercy. If there are any who care to look upon the face of the departed, before he is carried to his final resting place, you may do so now.
How can you defile this sacred house with the body of that evil man, that servant of the devil? His hands are stained with the blood of the innocent, and his unspeakable, sorcery.
Please, you can't create a disturbance here. Dr. Clayton, I'm terribly sorry. Poor old Kate hasn't been quite right since the shocking murder of her little granddaughter last year. But I never dreamed...
I understand. Why don't you please go on with the service? Dust to dust, and may his soul find mercy.
Isn't it all for the best, Uncle Lloyd? After all, he caused you nothing but unhappiness.
He was my brother, yet he always seemed an alien soul, even in childhood. I believe he hated me all his life. After he returned from India, Elwyn was like a man obsessed by a demon. Nothing was sacred to him. He had nothing but contempt for all that decent men hold dear. His mind became a black and evil thing, probing into the perverted knowledge of ancient sorcery and demonology.
Must have been insane.
We're all quick to call insane any mentality that deviates from the conventional. There have been many things in heaven and earth undreamed of in our philosophy. Now, David, you take Gail home. I'm going to Elwyn's house.
Well, you're sure you won't leave me, Dr. Clayton?
Yes, quite sure. Now, run along, dear. I'll be home very soon.
All right, Uncle Lloyd. Come on, David.
Horrible blasphemy.
You don't know what you're doing.
Where you burn yourself.
Your brother searched the earth to find those books, and you dare destroy them.
The earth will be a cleaner place without them.
The fools who enforce the law believe his death was an accident. But I know you murdered him. You threw him from the top of the cliff.
I fought only to save my own life. He brought his death upon himself.
You lie. You followed him there to murder him.
You couldn't get anyone to believe that.
What do I care what they believe? You'll pray for death long before you die.
Darling, you've made me very happy.
No happier than you've made me. Now, don't you think we'd better tell Uncle Lloyd? After all, he is my guardian.
Of course, although I don't think you'll be very much surprised.
Are you back already? Has the moon lost its appeal?
Why, not at all, sir. Well, that is, what I'm trying to say is that...
Could you possibly be trying to tell me that you and Gail are in love?
That's it, exactly, sir. I hope we have your approval.
Yes, David. I know her happiness will be safe in your hands.
I'll do my best, sir.
I believe you. I can face the future with a lighter heart.
You speak as if you were in danger.
No, not at all, dear. It just makes me feel happy to know that your future's assured, that's all. Shaitan, Dark Lord of the Abyss, I live. I am not yet strong, but the power has been given me to draw everlasting life from the veins of the living. They will give me the blood from their hearts, while I destroy them. Hide my coffin in the vault and guard it. The power is with me only during the hours of darkness. From dawn to dusk, I lie helpless in the grave.
Or we to that point in the movie. Quite frankly, I didn't care for it. I've been reading the latest issue of TV Died magazine. We're into the second season. Let's see. Well, Roseanne's still on. She used to be Roseanne Scar, but now she goes by Roseanne. Scary Mason. Boy, those reruns will go on forever, I think. Star Trek. They keep coming out with a new version of that one. Siri and the Wheel of Misfortune with Vanna Fright. Oh, that'll go on forever, I think. And, of course, my soaps are still on. One Sleigh at a Tomb and Happy Sleighs. You can catch that every once in a while. Well, while I check out what's on TV, of course, we're still here, so let's go back and watch some more of our horrible movie. Siri.
Finding this place cost Kate her life and did no good. If I'd only known in time that he was here.
Be sure to join Channel 11 next Saturday night as James Brolin and Margot Kidder buy their dream house that turns into a house of horror in the Amityville Horror, followed by the menacing terror of the world's largest reptile in Giant Gila Monster.
You're watching Sleepcore. Sleep tight.
The day of doom is coming. Your blood will turn white. Your face will turn green. Your eyeballs will pop with pressure. Because our doomsday show is the living end. Forge your strength. Take a shot. You're gonna need an awful lot when you see our shocker pictures. So terrifying that it is easier to die than to live. Come if you must, but make your wills. Say your goodbyes, for soon you may be up in the skies. Doomsday is coming.
Come on, hurry up. Look. Come here. Look, a cabin.
Let's get out of here.
stay there. Do you think we should? I don't know. Come on. The poor professor, when he made the last entry in the diary, he didn't know how horribly he would die.
Well, his discovery of the uranium deposits didn't help him any, even if it does represent a tremendous fortune.
We must keep it from the girls that Professor Green had a premonition of his fate.
You see here, in the last paragraph, he says he thought something terrible was going to happen. He just felt the danger.
I wonder where that peculiar hissing came from that he always heard. Oh, Gary, I'm terribly scared. I'm so afraid.
Don't worry, Georgia. As long as I'm around, nothing will happen to you. I promise.
Hi, Georgia.
I'm hungry.
I've made something for you to eat. Lucky there were some canned goods here.
Food. It must have been a really gigantic spider to be able to spin such a huge web.
Maybe there are more of them.
We found the professor's trunk full of stuff. They'll certainly be useful.
1, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay.
If we divide the provisions up carefully, they should last for a month.
What did you say, Georgia? A month? Do you really think we'll be here a whole month?
I don't know.
We have to go tomorrow to the highest cliff and light a smoke signal to try and attract a ship. 10, 11, 12.
Give me that shirt. No, it belongs to me. After all, I found it. But my dress is in worse shape than yours. No, I want to have it. Give it to me. Give it to me.
Stop that fighting. Give me that shirt. Georgia?
Thanks, Gary. I suppose we could have guessed that Georgia would be getting it.
Haven't you ever noticed that Gary pampers her?
What's this? Where did you get the pullover?
I found it here, if you don't have anything against it.
Now stop it or I'll take care of both of you. Give me something to drink, Douglas.
Take it easy, Gary. We're all a little nervous. It's really no wonder.
Don't you think I'd rather be in a bar in Singapore with a nice cold drink than to be on this godforsaken place? Drinking this horrible stuff?
Darned heat. Look out, will you? And stop making so much noise.
If you don't like it, you can do the dishes. Or do you think I'm doing this for my own pleasure?
Stop blowing your top and dry up, will you?
I simply can't stand this frightful heat any longer.
How about throwing your dirty blouse someplace else? I want to sleep. I sure hope you don't lose your lipstick. You'd hardly be able to get along on this island without it.
I'm through. It's about time. Now I'll shower. Give it here.
Come on. Come on, girls. Let's go to sleep.
I'm going to sleep outside.
Night.
Me too.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night, Kate.
Good. I found the professor's revolver.
Get some sleep, Gary.
I can't. I think I'll go out for a little walk. But don't worry. I'll be back very shortly.
Gary? Oh, Gary. Gary.
Damned heat. I don't know what I'm doing anymore.
Those were shots. I heard them clearly. Oh, I hope nothing's happened to Gary. I'm going. If you're not going with me, I'm going alone. Stay here. Don't leave us alone. You won't find Gary.
You've been watching Shock Theater. Be here next Saturday at 11 for 5 Million Years to Earth, starring Andrew Kyer. It's time now to say goodnight, and thanks for watching TV 44. Have a nice Easter.